Hello and welcome back to Pass the Turn. This is another Magic the Gathering video, and today I'm going to be taking you through my Yarok The Desecrated EDH Commander deck. And this is pretty much a complete deck, and I think it functions really well. I'm not much of a great deck builder, but I feel that this deck in particular is probably one of the best ones I've built, and it just functions really well, and it's very much one of those decks that is all based on the commander's ability. And if you're ever struggling to build a deck, build it based on the commander. That is the best advice that I can give you as a deck builder myself. But yeah, let's get straight into it. This is Yarok the Desecrated. So Yarok the Desecrated is basically a Panharmonicon in your command zone, and he's great as well. So he's a Sultai commander, which gives you excellent value. Blue, green, black, and 2 is his casting cost, and he's a legendary creature, Elemental Horror, and his stat block is 3/5. So again, he's got a big butt, and he can also kill a majority of 3-4 turn drop creatures as well. Well, in fact, he can kill any creature because he's got Death Touch. So he is an instant defensive threat. If someone's swinging at you, they're going to die because Yarok's going to kill them in one hit with his Death Touch. And also, he has the added benefit of Lifelink as well, which is rare in green and blue. So it's good to have that in the Sultai pie as well. So Yarok is overall a great creature, a good body, gets you a bit of life back, can kill or trade with any other creature on the battlefield as long as it doesn't have Indestructible. And its ability, which is tagged on, enables the rest of the deck. So if a permanent entering the battlefield causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. So every single card in this deck pretty much has an enter the battlefield or when this enters ability to capitalise on that particular ability stated on Yarok. And I feel that this deck is really strong. It's not great at dealing with big massive board stakes, but it is good at getting rid of key pieces and just generating lots and lots of value in any scenario. So Yarok the Desecrated, awesome commander, so stay tuned. If you like any sort of geeky content, Magic the Gathering, board games, Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, any form of tabletop content, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel, because we're going to be having a lot more variants in our content soon. And Season 2 will be coming soon as well, so you're going to see a lot of vast improvements on the channel itself. So in no particular order, I'm going to go through the main bulk of the deck, and then I'll go into land base later on. So the first card that pops up is Avenger of Zendikar. Now this is a tremendous card that appears in a lot of lands matter decks, and this is a 7-cost drop elemental, so 2 forests and 5 others, creature 5/5 elemental. And when he enters the battlefield, create a 0/1 green plant creature token for each land you control. So if you dropped him when Yarok was out, you'd basically create double plant tokens because he enters the battlefield. So you'd copy that ability, and then all your plants would double themselves, basically. So you get a huge plant army based on how many lands you control, which is really good. And also has landfall ability on it as well. So this is also a triggered ability. Whenever a land enters a battlefield under your control, you may put a +1/+1 counter on each plant you control. So this would give you 2 lots of that. So you'd get +2/+2 on all of your plants rather than just 1. So again, a huge token army builder. So if you want to go wide at the end of the game, this can do it for you. And then every time a land enters, you're going to pump up that army. So again, great card for Yarok. Next card is Utility All Round. That is Acidic Slime. So this is a 2/2 Death Touch, costs 5 to bring out. So again, he can trade with any card that swings in at him. And also, when he enters the battlefield, destroy target artifact, enchantment, or land. So you're going to get that twice if Yarok's out, potentially 3 times. And yeah, destroying target artifact, enchantment, or land is great. Artifacts are really hard to get rid of, so you can destroy those. Enchantments, again, you can get rid of them, and also lands. If you want to take someone's lands out of the game, preventing them from having that slice of the mana pie that they need for the horrible spells, you can target those lands as well, which is really useful. So Acidic Slime. Next is Lightning Greaves. Again, just a great card to drop early, and then when your commander comes out, you can immediately equip it to give it haste and shroud, so it's difficult for people to remove, and you can act. The commander can attack or act straight away based on what their abilities are. Again, just a great include for any commander deck to protect your commander against targeted removal. Lightning Greaves, great card. Madroltha the Gravetide. This is absolutely ridiculous, and he or she could be a commander on their own. So this is a Sultai colour commander or creature. Legendary creature, elemental avatar. A lot of elementals in this deck. So Sultai and 3 for a 6/6, and then during each of your turns, you may play up to one permanent card of each permanent type from your graveyard. If a card has multiple permanent types, choose one as you play it. So you could play an artifact from your graveyard that turn, or you could play a creature, or you could play both. As long as it doesn't have artifact creature, you could play an artifact out of the grave, you could play a creature out of the grave, you could play a land out of the grave. It's just absolutely fantastic. Enchantments are also permanents, aren't they? Yeah, so you can play an enchantment out of your grave as well and get that into the battlefield to trigger again, and it's just fantastic for just value in general. Sultai is just the ultimate value pie, it really is, and Madroltha is fantastic in the deck for that very reason. Next card is Terastodon. This is one of my mates' most hated cards. Josh Dunn hates this card. It's a 9/9 elephant and it costs 8 to bring out, 2 forests and 6 others. But when he enters the battlefield, you may destroy up to 3 target non-creature permanents. For each permanent put into your graveyard this way, its controller puts a 3/3 green elephant creature token onto the battlefield. So you're beast withining 3 things. If you've got Yarok out, it's 6 things. So you have to be kind of careful where you go with this, because you can give an opponent a load of elephants that can then hurt you as well. But it gives you a great selective board wipe of things that aren't creatures. So you can just destroy everyone's lands, or destroy loads of artifacts or creatures, or not creatures but enchantments, or anything that's pestering you. This guy can get rid of it, and he's a 9/9 as well, so he's a great body to have out after the carnage has ensued. Strionic Resonator is a ridiculous card for this deck, so it costs 2 to play, and its activated ability is pay 2 and tap it, copy target triggered ability you control. So anything with the text when, whenever, or at, you can copy that particular ability. So again, anything, whenever something enters the battlefield, you can pay 2 and tap it to copy that on top of Yarok's copy to just blow stuff up, basically. So Strionic Resonator is fantastic with all these cards that do stuff when, at, or whenever. So again, awesome card, Strionic Resonator. Next card is Roaring Primadox. So this is a 4/4 creature, beast. It costs 4 to bring in, so a good, nice, big, chunky stat block for 4 mana. And at the beginning of your upkeep, return a creature you control to its owner's hand. Why would you return a creature you control to its owner's hand? Because you can recur the value from it. So let's say I had a Terastodon out, previously mentioned, aforementioned Terastodon. At the start of my turn, I'm going to return the Terastodon to my hand and then play the Terastodon again to destroy 3 non-creature permanents. And at the beginning of my upkeep again, I'm going to return the Terastodon and destroy another 3 permanents. If Yarok is out at the same time, I'm going to be destroying 6 non-creature permanents every single turn, because Roaring Primadox is just flashing them in and out all the time, like this. And that is the reason why he's in a deck, because he gives you not only a 4/4 body, but he gives you a bounce every single turn, which is a fantastic include for any deck that runs enter the battlefield effects on creatures. So again, he's very, very good, and he brings a lot of value to each card that has attacked on enter the battlefield trigger on a creature. So again, great card in a Yarok deck. Next card, another bounce card, is Portal of Sanctuary. This actually was released in M20, so it costs 3 mana, 1 blue and 2 others, and it's an artifact. And then you can pay 1 and tap it to return target creature you control and each aura attached to it to their owner's hands. Activate this ability only once during your turn. So again, it gives you another outlet to bounce a creature back to your hand. and then bring it back out for its value enter the battlefield trigger, or it's twice enter the battlefield trigger, depending on how many Panharmonicons you've got out, Yarok or Panharmonicon himself, which I'll get to later. Again, just another great card for bouncing stuff back to your hand. Also can protect your... No, it can't because it's only during your turn. But again, a good card for getting recurring value out of your creatures that have entered battlefield effects. Deadeye Navigator, another card that has fantastic bounce value. So again, this costs 2 blues and 4 others, and he's a creature spirit, so he's a 5/5. So again, nice little stack block for the mana, and he has Soul Bond. So you may pair this creature with another unpaired creature when either enters the battlefield. They remain paired for as long as you control both of them. So you can bring this out and pair it with another creature. And as long as Deadeye Navigator is paired with another creature, each of those creatures has pay 1 blue and 1 colourless, exile this creature, then return it to the battlefield under your control. So if I paired this with a Terastodon, I could pay blue and 1 to exile Terastodon and return it to battlefield. And when it enters the battlefield, destroy target 3 non-creature permanents. And I could do that again if I had the mana. I could just blink it. If I had 6 mana untapped, 3 blues and 3 others, I could do this 3 times and blow up 9 non-creature permanents with Deadeye Navigator paired with Terastodon. So again, a fantastic card for getting reoccurring value of all of your creatures that have the enter battlefield effects. So again, also include Deadeye Navigator. This caused some havoc before, and that is Meteor Golem. So Meteor Golem, when he enters the battlefield, he's a 3/3 with 7 mana. So he's basically a Spine of Ishtar, but with legs. So he costs 7 to bring out, he's a 3/3, and when he enters the battlefield, destroy target non-land permanent and opponent controls. So again, if you have your Yarok out, your Panharmonicon, you can get 2 destroy target permanents with 1 card, then you can return them to your hand with other cards aforementioned like Roaring Primadox or Portal of Sanctuary. Just getting this card, you know, he's coming out, he's blowing stuff up, and then he gets blinked back and he comes back in and blows more stuff up. Again, it's just a great card for permanent removal, and again, it's on a body as well, which is important. Very, very important. Next card is Eternal Witness. This is for recursion value, so if something has gone to the graveyard as a result of being countered or destroyed or what have you, Eternal Witness can bring that card back and potentially bring more cards with it as well. If it's being Yarok or Panharmonicon, it can bring back 2 or 3 things, and again, it's really, really good for just recurring the value in Sultai. It's a definite include for most green decks out there that are in Commander, just for that body, that when it enters you get something back which you've lost previously. So again, awesome card, especially in this deck because of the enter battlefield trigger. This next card is absolutely outrageous, and that it came in M20. It's a blue card, Agent of Treachery. So this is a 2/3 human rogue, costs 7 to play, but when he enters the battlefield, gain control of target permanent. That's outrageous. Gain control of any target permanent. Any you want, you can take it. But also, not only that, at the beginning of your end step, if you control 3 or more permanents that you don't own, draw 3 cards. It's fantastic. It's like it was meant to be in a Yarok deck because of the fact that you can be blinked in and out, gaining control of all these permanents, and then if you control 3 or more permanents that you don't own physically, you can then get a card draw engine off of it. It's just ridiculous. Agent of Treachery, one of my favourite cards, and one that's done a lot of work on my playthroughs with the deck. Next card is basically a Cooling Oracle, but for elementals, and that is Risen Reef. Risen Reef is awesome. He costs Simic and 1, and he's a 1/1. But when he enters the battlefield, or when another elemental enters the battlefield under your control, you may look at the top card of your library, or you look at the top card of your library. If it's a land, you may put it onto the battlefield tapped. If you don't, put the card into your hand instead. So when this comes out, if you've got Yarok out, you'll get double the value. If another elemental comes out, it happens. If you've got this out with Zendikar's Royal, it's a ridiculous cycle that keeps going on and on and on and on and on. It's just a fantastic card in general, and it does have some combo potential as well with Zendikar's Royal, which I'll get to later. But again, a great card for just getting through your deck, getting more lands out onto the battlefield, and getting stuff into your hand quickly, which is good. This next card is really, really good as well. Another elemental, of course, Thicket Elemental. So he's a 4/4 and he costs 5. but you never play this guy as its body. You play him with the kicker cost always, and that is when he enters the battlefield. If it was kicked, you may reveal cards from top of your library until you reveal a creature card. If you do, put that card onto the battlefield and shuffle all other cards revealed this way into your library. So what he will do, if he was kicked and you had Yarok out, he would come out and you would then look at the top cards of your library until you get a creature. That creature would then come out. Its enter the battlefield effect, because all the creatures have enter the battlefield effects in this deck, would then trigger. And then you do it again for the next one. That will trigger, and it's just quality value in this deck. Really is an awesome card for getting your creatures out and just wrecking havoc. It's a bit chaotic because you obviously don't know what the enter the battlefield effect's going to be from the creature you pull off the top, but it's always going to be good. Let's be honest, it's always going to be good. Thicket Elemental, awesome include. Another bit of recursion, Green Warden of Marasa. This is basically a more expensive Eternal Witness. And again, another elemental as well. So 2 green and 4 others. And when he enters the battlefield, you may return target card from your graveyard to your hand. So again, it's the Eternal Witness-esque effect, which can be duplicated with your Panharmonicons or Yaroks. And when he dies, you may exile it. If you do, you can return a card from your graveyard to your hand. So again, you get that double effect there. When he dies, you may exile it. If you do, return target card from your graveyard to your hand. So if you had a Stronic Resonator out, you could double that activated or triggered ability, should I say. Doesn't work with Yarok, that's the bottom bit. If you had a Stronic Resonator out, you could copy that triggered ability and get it an additional time. So again, a lot of good value, a lot of recursion, and he's a 5/4 body as well. So again, the body will matter. Because the win con in this deck is really just combat damage. There's a couple of I don't think there's any really game-ending cards in this deck, but combat damage is probably the way you'd win with this. Bit of ramp, Wood Elves. So this is a 1/1 that costs 1 forest and 2 others. When it enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a forest and put that card onto the battlefield. Not tapped, but onto the battlefield. So again, you're basically playing a 1/1 creature for getting that. You get an additional forest from it as well, which you can immediately tap if needed. But again, it's just a nice little ramp spell with a body on, which can double or triple depending on whether Yarok or Panharmonicon is out. So again, good little ramp spell there in that sense. Next one is Hornet Queen. This is a ridiculous insect. So he costs 3 forests and 4 others. He's a 2/2 flying Death Touch, or she, should I say. But when Hornet Queen enters the battlefield, put 4 1/1 green insects with flying and Death Touch onto the battlefield. So if you had this, if you had Yarok out and you played this, you get 8 1/1 flying Death Touches. Another one of those cards that can go wide at the end of the game and just create an immediate defensive threat, and defensively. But defensively, you know, you've got loads of Death Touches out there. People are going to want to reconsider whether they're going to be swinging at you with their big monsters. So again, Hornet Queen, fantastic card. I need to get myself another one because this came out of my insect deck, which you'll see a deck take on at some point. Next card is Retreat to Hagra. So this is a landfall trigger. So again, this will double up if you have Yarok out. And whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, choose one. Target creature gets +1/+0 and gains Death Touch until end of turn. Probably won't be using that. This is the ability I normally use. Each opponent loses 1 life, you gain 1 life. So it's a good way of draining someone out and also gaining some life back for yourself. And again, if you're getting your landfall triggers doubled, you're going to be draining everyone for 2 and healing yourself for 2. So again, fantastic bit of value there. Retreat to Hagra. But you could also pump up your own creature if you wanted to and give it Death Touch, but don't really use that much. Here he is, Panharmonicon. Basically what Yarok was meant to be, basically. But Yarok is better because it's whenever an ability triggers from something entering the battlefield, it triggers an additional time, whereas this is just artifacts and creatures. There'll be examples of when Yarok doubles up other things that aren't on this card, which I'll get to later. But Panharmonicon, if an artifact or creature entering the battlefield causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. So all those creatures that I've aforementioned and stuff that I will mention later will trigger an additional time. If you've got Yarok out, it's going to trigger 3 times, which is outrageous. And artifacts entering as well can trigger an additional time. Although I don't think I have any artifacts that really benefit from that in here. I don't think. No. But Panharmonicon, if this is out and Yarok's out, it's squeaky bum time for your opponents. They are really quaking in their boots as to what's going to happen, because all your stuff's going to be triggering twice. 3 times, should I say. Panharmonicon is a definite include in the Yarok deck, and I highly recommend getting this if you're running Yarok. Next is a little bit of utility, and that is Ghostly Flicker. So Ghostly Flicker says, costs 1 blue and 2 others. Exile 2 target artifacts, creatures and or lands you control, then return those cards to the battlefield under your control. So you will flicker 2 things, whether it's a land, artifact or creature, and you get that ability again. So if you've got your Yarok out or your Panharmonicon out, you're getting that into the battlefield trigger twice, 3 times. Again, it's just another good way of recurring that enter the battlefield trigger and getting the most value you can out of your cards. Ghostly Flicker. Another great bounce card, that is Conjurer's Closet. So if this is out, this costs 5 and it's an artifact. At the beginning of your end step, you may exile a target creature you control, then return that card to the battlefield under your control. So again, it's another way of, at the end of the turn, the end of your turn, once you're done causing havoc, one of your creatures is going to get blinked and then going to come in again and potentially do more things for you. So again, it's just another way of getting so much more value out of your cards, and it is a definite include again. I think with this card, because it's recurring all of your creatures' abilities again and again and again, stacking them up with Yarok and Panharmonicons, and a fantastic card, Conjurer's Closet. Next card could be a commander if you wanted it to be, and that is Tatyova Benthic Druid. Just a overall fantastic value card for any sort of Simic deck, green and blue. So it's a Merfolk Druid legendary creature. It costs 1 green and 1 blue and 3 others. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 1 life and draw a card, and it's a 3/3. So again, if you had Yarok out in play, whenever a land would enter, you'd gain 2 life and draw 2 cards. But in general, even if you didn't have Yarok out, whenever a land enters, you gain 1 life and draw a card. That is just getting you further into your deck and getting more cards, getting more life, and just getting more and more value. And that is what Simic and Sultai are so good at, is getting value, which is fantastic. So a good include, Tatyova, just for speeding your deck through a little bit more. Another bounce spell, Erratic Portal. This is from Urza's Saga or something, I can't remember which one it is. But again, it costs 4 artifacts to bring out, and you can pay 1 and tap it. Return an entire creature to its owner's hand unless its controller pays 1. So you could use this on your opponents, but you're probably going to use it on your own creatures just to recur that value again, because obviously you're not going to pay 1. If you target yourself, you want that creature to go back to your hand to get its recurable value. So again, just another card to get more and more value out of your creatures that enter the battlefield. So again, awesome include. Ramp spell, Kodama's Reach. Again, it's probably a staple of most green stuff. Kodama's Reach, your explosive vegetations. I think there's another one of those in there somewhere, which I'll get to later. But again, great ramp spell. 1 onto the battlefield tapped, 1 into your hand, 3 mana. Can't go wrong. Great ramp spell. Talisman of Resilience. This is a nice little artifact. Mana Rock, costs 2, and it can tap to add 1 immediate colourless mana to your mana pool, or it can tap to add black and green, and it deals 1 damage to you. 1 damage, nothing really. So great include for black and green mana. Gift of Paradise. So this is a ramp spell in a sense, but it also has added utility when Yarok's out, or when Yarok's out, because this is an enchantment. So when this enters, if Yarok is in play, this would, you pay 1 green and 2 others, it's an enchantment aura. So you enchant a land. When it enters the battlefield, you gain 3 life. So if Yarok's out, you gain 6 life off of this card, and then the enchanted land can tap to add 2 mana of any one colour. But yeah, again, another great card. When it's stacked with Yarok and Stronic Resonator, you can gain some serious life off of this card, and then you can ramp yourself as well. So again, a great card for ramp and for that additional gain life value. Gift of Paradise. Rampaging Balos, again another card for going wide towards the end of the game, or just another way of getting a big army out quickly, and that is Rampaging Balos. So he costs 6, 2 forests and 4 others, and he's 6/6 trample straight away out of the box. 6/6 trample. What else you need? Oh wait, you need landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you may create a 4/4 green beast token. You may, of course I will, I'll create a beast. And again, if you've got Yarok out, he's going to create 2 beasts every single time, which is ridiculous. And if you've got Stronic Resonator out, he's going to create 3 beasts if you pay the mana. It's just outrageous. Rampaging Balos is a great card for going wide at the end of the game and just getting more armies out with the end of the battlefield trigger. So again, Rampaging Balos, great include. Cultivate, another great ramp spell, let's be honest. Search lobby for up to 2 basic lands, reveal those, put one onto the battlefield tapped, one into your hand. So basically like Kodama's Reach. Cultivate, what else you need to know? Another great ramp spell, Solemn Simulacrum. This costs 4, and he's an artifact creature golem. When he enters the battlefield, you may search a lobby for a basic land, put it onto the battlefield tapped. So if you had Yarok out, you're going to go search a lobby for 2 lands, put it onto the battlefield tapped. And if you had Rampaging Balos out, you're going to create 2 4/4 beasts, well 4 4/4 beasts, because they're both going to trigger twice. It's just ridiculous. Solemn Simulacrum is just instant value. Anyway, whether you have Yarok or not, he is great value. When he dies, draw a card. Again, you could copy that ability as Trionic Resonator if you want. When he dies, it's triggered ability, draw a card, or draw another card for Trionic Resonator. But again, it's a great card in any commander deck, Solemn Simulacrum, and it just so happens to be absolutely outrageous in this Yarok deck because you can just go fetch so many cards. If you blink this guy out, you can literally just strip your deck of all the basic lands and just gash yourself out the rest of the game. Fantastic card, Solemn Simulacrum. Always happy to find or see that card in my starting hand. Another fantastic card, Phyrexian Delver for a bit of recursion. So this is a 3/2, costs 5, and he is a zombie. When he enters the battlefield, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield, and then you lose life equal to that card's converted mana cost. So you're going to lose a bit of life with this guy, but he's going to reanimate something for you. Back onto the battlefield, you're going to get that into the battlefield trigger. It's going to double or triple depending on what it is. It's going to give you instant value. It's going to be something you need to see being pulled out of your grave at some time to deal with something. Again, it's just utility and bringing that utility back to the table. That creature is then going to be on the field waiting to be blinked with something to then get another effect out of it and then get doubled and tripled depending on the cards you have in play. It's just great for recursion. You're going to lose a little bit of life, but let's be honest, you're going to want to sacrifice that life if you want to get that throughout the way. So Phyrexian Delver is fantastic. And again, he doubles up as well. If you've got Yarok out or Panharmonicon out, that's going to double. So you're going to be able to get 2 creatures out from the grave, lose life equal to their converted mana cost, yeah, but get their abilities from the end of the battlefield triggers. So it's definitely worth having in there. Another rampy utility spell, and that is New Horizons, another enchant land card, which obviously works with Yarok, because whenever a permanent entering the battlefield causes ability to trigger, it will trigger an additional time. So this is a permanent, remember, enchantment aura. When it enters the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. So again, you can get 2 +1/+1 counters on 2 things, because it's going to trigger twice from Yarok. And I normally plop that on Yarok himself, so he becomes a 5/7. And obviously the enchanted land has tapped, add 2 mana of any one colour to your mana pool. So again, just another good card alongside Gift of Paradise that gives you a little bit of ramp, but a little bit more of utility if you've got your commander up. So again, nice little spell. Prime Speaker Zagana, this is an outrageous card. So this costs 2 and then Simic, so 6 in total. And it's a legendary creature, Merfolk Wizard. And it costs, well, I've already said what it costs, so it's a 1/1. And it enters the battlefield with X +1/+1 counters on it, where X is the greatest power among creatures you control. So it enters the battlefield with an amount of counters equal to the greatest power among creatures you control. That in itself is not an enter the battlefield trigger, though. A lot of people get confused with that. This enters the battlefield with that amount of counters on, so you're not going to get that enter the battlefield trigger, unfortunately, because it enters with it, not when it enters, it's with. So basically you don't get that enter the battlefield trigger, but when it enters the battlefield, at the bottom here, you draw cards equal to its power. So again, it's a body that comes out, can become ridiculously powerful if you've got another ridiculously powerful creature out, but then you also draw cards equal to its power. So again, it's another card draw on the stick as well, and it can potentially double or triple, depending on whether you've got Panharmonicon or Yarok out, so you can potentially draw a lot of cards off of this, and again, very, very useful in the deck. Another body with a ramp on it is Farhaven Elf. So this costs 2 colourless and 1 green. And when he enters the battlefield, you may search live for a basic land and put it onto the battlefield tapped. So again, if you've got Yarok out or Panharmonicon, you're going to go fetch 2 basic lands instead. So again, if you got one of those permanents out later in the game, you know, you can strip your deck, you know, of lands, and then give that extra mana at the late game can help you win games a lot easier. So it's a great body and a great spell later on in the game as well as being early out as well. It's great out of the gate if you're on turn 3. Again, another great card that just fits into the deck because of its out of the battlefield trigger. Next one is Sower of Temptation. This is another great card for stealing other people's stuff. So this costs 2 blues and 2 others. It's a 2/2 flying fairy wizard. And when he enters the battlefield, gain control of target creature for as long as Sower of Temptation remains on the battlefield. So again, it's a good way of deterring someone else's creature until this gets killed. So it makes itself a target, but again, it puts an X on itself to allow your other strategies to come into play while someone is focusing on this to try and get their creature back. Again, it's a great distraction, again, it can also win a game if you steal someone else's ridiculous creature and they cannot get that creature back by killing this. If you put Lightning Greaves or something on this, you can pretty much have that creature at all times that you've stolen. So again, a great way of messing with your opponents and dictating what they're targeting on the field. Sower of Temptation. Next card is just instant value. Baleful Strix costs 1 Demir, so blue-black, 1/1 flying Death Touch. So again, it's a great blocker for any sort of creature. It can block dragons, demons, angels, and kill them straight away. You know, it's got 1/1 flying Death Touch, so you can trade with any creature on the battlefield. And when it enters the battlefield, draw a card. If you've got Yarok out or Panharmonicon, that's going to trigger twice or 3 times. Again, just great value for 2 mana. You can't really go wrong with a 1/1 flying Death Touch, that when it enters, you draw a card. You can't go wrong. It needs to be in there. Baleful Strix. Next card is Elvish Visionary. So it's a nice little body, 1/1. When it enters the battlefield, draw a card. So again, early games just lets you draw more cards early. And if you've got your Yarok or your Panharmonicon late game, it can turn into a 2 or 3 card draw for 2 mana, which is ridiculous. And it's a body as well, which can help block big threats and chump block things. So again, you can't go wrong with a little card like that early on. Soul the Harvest. This is a great card. It's a 6/6 trample in itself for 6 mana, 2 forests and 4 others. And whenever a non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, you may draw a card. Which is great if you've got Yarok or Panharmonicon out, because whenever a creature is played, you can draw 2 or 3 cards every single time. And again, it's just a fantastic card because I'm not going to be playing non-token creatures. I'm going to be playing creatures in Commander that are always going to be good, and I'm always going to be drawing cards when this guy's out. So again, fantastic include, another card draw engine, Soul the Harvest. And he's a threat in himself, a 6/6 trample, can't go wrong. This is a fantastic card, Fierce Empath. So this is a 1/1 elf, and it costs 1 green and 2 others. When he enters the battlefield, you may search the lobby for a creature card with converted mana cost 6 or more and put it into your hand. So any of those horrible threats like Agent of Treachery, Terastodon, Soul the Harvest, any Avenger of Zendikar, any of those big creatures, Rampaging Valos that I need, depending on the win con that I'm going for, this guy can fetch out of my deck, and then I can get that into the battlefield trigger from whatever that card is. If Yarok or Panharmonicon is out, I can get it twice, and again, it's great for fetching me what I need at that time. So again, Fierce Empath is a quality card. Great include. Scapeshift. This is a fantastic card for those when a land enters triggers. So if you've got a Retreat to Hagra out and then you play a Scapeshift and sacrifice all your lands, bring loads of lands in, you can get a load of plant tokens, you can get a load of Baloths, you can drain someone's life with Retreat to Hagra, you can get all sorts of enter the battlefield triggers with this. And again, this is probably one of the win cons, one win con in the deck when coupled with some other cards. But this is probably one of the only spells in there that can potentially win me a game straight away. I'm yet to use it in a game, Scapeshift, but again, it's just a fantastic card if you need to mana fix yourself as well. If you've only got loads of forests out and you need to get a mixture of loads of different things, it allows you to search the library for any lands. Yeah, search the library for any lands and put them onto the battlefield. Again, I've got lands in here which when they enter they do stuff as well, and again that's quite useful. Scapeshift, just a general overall good land matters card, so definitely worth a look if you're running a lot of landfall stuff in Yarok, which I am. Yarok could probably be a lot more focused on enter the battlefield or landfall. or other things entering, but my deck is just a bit of a toolbox deck. There isn't really any sort of focus, and that's what I like in my decks. There isn't really much focus. In some of them there are, but in most I just like to be able to do a little bit of everything. I like toolbox decks a lot. I mean, this was very much based on my Dharmia Sage of Stone deck, which you'll be able to see up in the top right corner. That was disassembled, and a lot of things went into this, especially the land base. Dharmia herself could actually be in here, but I just can't really find a spot for her. She's very, very expensive, but I'm going off topic now. But again, Sultai, fantastic card, it really is. Next card is Talisman of Curiosity, very much like the Talisman of Resilience that I showed you earlier. So it's a 2-drop, and it adds 1 colourless to your mana pool, and it can add a Simic to your mana pool, or 1 green or 1 blue, and it deals 1 damage to you. So again, fair trade for fixing your mana. Talisman of Curiosity. Next card is Zendikar's Royal, which is fantastic. It costs 2 green and 3 others. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, put a 2/2 green elemental creature token onto the battlefield. So this is fantastic for whenever lands come in. You can create loads of creatures. Again, good for going wide. And this really works well with Risen Reef, because whenever Risen Reef basically says whenever an elemental or Risen Reef enters the battlefield, do this. So let me just see if I can work out the combo. Where is he? Where's Risen Reef? Risen Reef, there it is. So you've got these both out. You've got Risen Reef out, and you've got a Zendikar's Royal out. So let's just say you played Risen Reef when Zendikar's Royal out. Whenever Risen Reef or another elemental enters the battlefield under your control, look at the top card of the library. If it's a land, you may put it onto the battlefield tapped. If you do, if you don't, put the card into your hand. So basically, if Risen Reef saw a land come out, it would put it onto the battlefield. Then Zendikar's Royal would see that land entering the battlefield and create another elemental. That elemental Risen Reef would then see, so he would then look at the library. Then if that library was another land, Zendikar's Royal would create another elemental. Risen Reef would then see that elemental being created and then look at the top card of the library. So again, these 2 cards are fantastic for value. They're just really, really good, and they can rip through your deck really, really quickly. And if you have these 2 things out, it is a great value engine in general. So that's Zendikar's Royal and Risen Reef. I'll just explain that. Next one is Sepulchral Primordial. This is a ridiculous card. This costs 2 black and 5 others. It's a 5/4 Intimidate, which means it can only be blocked by creatures that share the same colour and or artifact creatures. And when it enters the battlefield, for each opponent, you may put up to 1 type creature from that player's graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. So again, you can fetch other people's big threats that have been killed and bring them back onto the battlefield under your control. And if those creatures have entered the battlefield effects, you can double those up with Yarok or Panharmonicon. So again, a great creature to drop out of nowhere, and that other people will not be planning for. And it's just a great card in general as well. It has Intimidate, so again, it's another good card to get through some unblocked damage. They don't share the same creature type or the same colour type as you. So again, a great card. And again, enter the battlefield trigger. If that triggers 2 or 3 times, you're going to be nicking a lot of creatures from people's graveyards, and it's going to be an instant board state for you. So again, a great card late game. Another great card for any sort of multicolour deck is Chromatic Lantern. This is a 3-cost artifact that taps to add 1 mana of any colour, so instant value. But then it gives all of your lands add 1 mana of any colour. So all of your lands can then tap for whatever mana colour of whatever pie you choose. So again, it's a fantastic card for fixing your mana and giving you a little bit of ramp as well, because it has a tap ability on itself. So again, a great card for any multicoloured deck. Next card is Displace, another card that will bounce stuff, flicker things basically. Exile up to 2 target creatures you control, then return those cards to the battlefield under their owner's control. So again, if you've got 2 creatures out, you can flicker them out, and then they come back in and do their effects once or twice or 3 times, depending on the artifacts or creatures you have out, Yarok or Panharmonicon. Again, so it's just another great card for bouncing your creatures and getting that instant value. A great card for recurring value on your creatures. Next card is Sire of Stagnation. This is ridiculous. This is the only Eldrazi in here, so it costs a Dimir and 4. It looks awesome. It's a 5/7 devoid, so it has no colour. But whenever a land enters the battlefield under an opponent's control, that player exiles the top 2 cards of his or her library, and you may draw 2 cards. So again, it's a whenever trigger. So whenever a land enters. So if Yarok was out, this would trigger twice. So you exile the top 2 cards twice of the target opponent's library, or that player's library, and then you draw 4 cards instead. So again, that is great for just exiling stuff from the opponent's libraries and just getting a card draw going late game as well. And it's a 5/7 Eldrazi creature. So again, it's just an annoyance rather than anything else, and it's a bit of card draw for yourself as well. And speaking of card draw, Moldrifter is the next card. This is a 2/2 flying elemental creature. Costs 5 as its normal mana cost, but you can evoke it as well. When he enters the battlefield, you draw 2 cards, but you can also evoke it. So evoke would still count as it entering the battlefield as a creature. So again, you could get that double stack from Panharmonicon or Yarok, even if you evoke it, because it would still come in as a creature, but it's just sacrificed as soon as it enters the battlefield. So he still comes in as a creature. But again, Moldrifter, whether you need a 2/2 flyer at the end of the game just to draw 2 cards, whether you need a blocker or just want to play it early for the card draw, again, it's a fantastic utility card, which is definitely included in the Yarok deck. This is an awesome card, Spring Bloom Druid. Again, it comes in as a 1/1 Elf Druid for 3 mana. When it enters the battlefield, you may sacrifice a land, so basically like crop rotation. And then if you do, search library for up to 2 basic lands, put them onto battlefield tapped. So again, it brings out more lands for you. You can double or triple that trigger up to sacrifice 3 lands, then go grab 6 lands. Again, it's just a great ramp spell, and again, it gives you that enter the battlefield effects of lands as well. So if you've got some other things that care about lands entering, like Avenger of Zendikar or Zendikar's Royal, or Rampaging Balos or Ob Nixilis, which we haven't actually covered yet, then you're going to get those triggers a lot, and that's going to give you some good value. So again, Spring Bloom Druid, a great ramp spell and a body as well. Another ramp spell, Explosive Vegetation. Again, you probably know what this card does. 1 green, 3 others. Search library up to 2 basic lands, put it onto battlefield tap, then shuffle your library. Great. It's always a good turn 4 play because you put yourself 2 turns ahead straight away on the next turn. So again, it's fantastic. Explosive Vegetation. Next card, Teamer Sabertooth. This is great because this is a 4-drop card, and it's a 4/3 cat, and it has 1 green and 1. You may return another creature you control to its owner's hand. If you do, it gains indestructible till end of turn. So if someone board wipes and you've got 2 spare mana, you can return the creature that you don't want to die to your hand, and as a result of that, give this indestructible and save this as well. It's just fantastic. Not only is it good for returning stuff to your hand, but it can protect itself and something else at instant speed. It's literally like having a Lightning Greaves on a creature, because it can protect it at instant speed, and itself as well from being destroyed. So again, it's a fantastic card in this deck. It really is. Teamer Sabertooth. Next card is Courser of Kruphix. Again, this is just value on a stick. So it's a 2/4 enchantment creature, Centaur, costs 2 green and 1 others. You may play the top card of your library revealed. You play the top card of your library revealed. So you get a bit of insight, but so do your opponents, which can be good and bad. But you may play the top card of your library if it's a land. So if you have no lands in your hand, but the land on top of your library is a land, you can play that as if it was in your hand, which is great. And then whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you gain life. So again, just gives you more enter the battlefield triggers from lands, and it gives you life as well. So that can be doubled from Yarok. Whenever a land enters the battlefield, it gives you 2 life instead. And again, just a generally good card for giving you a bit of insight as to what's coming, and just allowing you to get through your deck a little bit quicker, and when you do lay a land, you get life. So again, fantastic card, and it's a 2/4 as well. So early in the game, it can't really be killed easily, and it can kill some creatures if it blocks as well. So again, great card. Next card is Hostage Taker. This is fantastic. So Dimir and 2 for a 2/3 human pirate. When it enters the battlefield, exile type creature or artifact until it leaves the battlefield. You may cast that card for as long as it remains exiled, and you may spend mana of any colour to cast that spell. So you can just literally exile someone's creature or exile someone's artifact, and then you can steal that artifact and play it against them, which is fantastic. And I think that's got to be a definite include, because it's entered the battlefield as well. So you can potentially stack 3 times. You can exile 3 things, and then you can cast that as though a mana of any colour. So it's stealing people's strategy as well, which is also a great tactic, and one of my favourite tactics is stealing other people's strategies and using them against them, because it just annoys that player. It's just like, oh, he's using my own card against me. It's just really, really good. Great strategy is to steal other people's strategies. Hostage Taker. This is a great card, Obnixilis the Fallen. So this is a 3/3 legendary creature demon. He costs 2 black and 3 others, and he has landfall. So whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you may have target player lose 3 life. If you do, put 3 +1/+1 counters on him. So if you had something that doubles a landfall, you're going to make someone lose 6 life, and he's going to get 6 counters every time a land enters. If you scape shift with this guy out, that's someone pretty much dead. And then if he can swing on that same turn, that is pretty much someone else dead as well if they can't block it. So Obnixilis is a fantastic card that is always a threat, and he looms over the battlefield as well. So whenever a land you control enters, someone's getting drained and he's getting beefier. So again, a fantastic card in the deck. You can double up those landfall triggers. Birthing Pod is a fantastic card for allowing me to find the creatures that I need to find at any time. And it's fantastic because it works with Phyrexian mana, so you can pay life to reduce the cost of not only its mana cost, but its ability as well. So this allows you to pay 1 green or 2 life and 1 other, sacrifice a creature, search your library for a creature card with converted mana cost equal to +1 the sacrifice creature's converted mana cost, and put that card onto the battlefield. Then shuffle your library. Activate its ability only time you can activate a sorcery. So I could sacrifice a 5-cost creature and then go grab a 6-cost creature, put it onto the battlefield, and get it sent to the battlefield effects. So it's fantastic. If you know your deck and you know what creatures you have access to as a result of this card, it can change the game. It can change your strategy entirely based on having this out and what options you got on the table to sacrifice. And I know my deck quite well, and I know what cards I would need to sacrifice and get for certain situations. So again, fantastic card like Fierce Empath will allow me to go search those creatures that I need to enter the battlefield with. Birthing. Next card is Overseer of the Damned, another demon that costs 2 black and 5 others. He's a 5/5 flying, and when he enters the battlefield, you may destroy target creature. So again, with Panharmonicon or Yarok out, you can destroy a couple of creatures, and then whenever a non-token creature an opponent controls dies, you get 2/2 black zombie creature token that enters the battlefield tapped. So again, another great way of building your army when stuff dies on the opponent's side of the field. So again, a good way of killing some threats and going wide with tokens is another good way, or another good strategy late game to just get your army back on the table. Overseer of the Damned, great card. Next card is Noxious Gearhulk. So this is a 5/4 artifact creature construct, costs 2 black and 4 others. He's menace as well, so he can only be blocked by 2 or more creatures. But when he enters the battlefield, you may destroy another target creature. If a creature is destroyed this way, you gain life equal to its toughness. So again, you can pick off some ridiculously powerful threats once or twice, depending on whether you've got Yarok or Panharmonicon out. And you can gain a load of life from this guy as well, because you gain life equal to the destroyed creature's toughness. So that could be a huge 10/10. It could be, a couple of 5/5s. You're going to gain you a lot of life. And again, it's removal on a body, which is going to be bounced in and out as well with different things. So again, a fantastic include in this type of deck. Noxious Gearhulk. Next card is Tomebound Lich, which I just thought was a good place to put Tomebound Lich. I really like the artwork and that as well, but again, it works well in this deck, and that is costs Jameer and 1 Zombie Wizard, 1/3 Death Touch Lifelink, very much like Yarok. But then when he enters the battlefield or deals combat damage to a player, draw a card, then discard a card. So again, another good way of drawing cards and ditching stuff in the grave that you can recur, and just another way of getting some card draw early on. And it has Death Touch and Lifelink as well, so it can kill anything that it touches, and it can gain you a little bit of life back. So again, pretty valuable. Only a couple of cards left now, 4 cards left. Next one is Woodfall Primus. So this is a Tree Folk Shaman 6/6 trample for 8 mana, so it costs 3 forests and 5 others. And when he enters the battlefield, destroy target non-creature permanent. So obviously if you've got Yarok out or Panharmonicon out, you can destroy 3 non-creature permanents with those things stacked up. And he also has Persist, so when he dies, if it had no -1/-1 counters on it, it will come back under the battlefield, under its owner's control, with a -1/-1 counter on it. So it would come back in after it dies and destroy more permanents, non-creature permanents for you. So again, fantastic include in his end of the battlefield deck. Next card is Calling Oracle, very much like Risen Reef. It costs Simic, and it's 1/1. When it comes into the battlefield, comes into play, enters the battlefield, reveal the top card of your library. If there's a land, put it into play, otherwise put that card into your hand. So it's basically a Risen Reef discounted, but doesn't have that ability to see other elementals coming in to do the ability. It only does it once. But if you've got your Panharmonicons or Yaroks out, you know what's going to happen. Next card, Duplicant. This is a great card, costs 6, and it's a 2/4 artifact shapeshifter. When it enters the battlefield, you may exile another target non-token creature. So you don't kill something, you just get rid of it. You just void it off, non-existent. And then his power and toughness becomes equal to the as long as a creature card exiled with Duplicant is a creature card, Duplicant has the power, toughness, and creature type of the last creature card exiled with Duplicant. So he becomes basically a little body of that creature. It doesn't get that creature's abilities, it just becomes the power and toughness and type of the creature that you exiled with it. So again, great removal spell, and can also remove multiple threats at once and exile them from the game. And the last card in the deck is Gonti, Lord of Luxury. This is a fantastic card, costs 2 black and 2 others, and it's a 2/3 Death Touch. And when he enters the battlefield, look at the top 4 cards of target opponent's library, exile one of them face down, then put the rest on the bottom of the library in the random order. For as long as that card remains exiled, you may look at it and you may cast it as though you had mana of any colour to cast it. So again, if you have the Panharmonicon or Yarok out, you can choose all of your opponent's libraries. So it'll trigger 3 times if you have Panharmonicon and Yarok out. So you could choose Matey Boy on the left, Matey Boy in front of you, and Matey Boy on the right. You're going to exile all their libraries and you'll be able to choose one of those things from the top 4 that you can cast for the rest of the game, and you can spend the mana as though of any colour. So you can cast and obliterate by using black or red mana, black or green mana, should I say, if you exile it with Gonti. So again, it's great because people aren't going to know what you've exiled. Actually, no, reveal. Look at the top card. So the opponent's not even going to know what they've exiled, what you've exiled from their deck. So again, it's fantastic for that. But yeah, that's the final card in the Yarok deck. So I'd love to hear what your thoughts are and what you would include in a deck of this nature. And I'd love to see what your deck lists are. So drop a comment in the section below if you've got a Yarok deck that maybe works more on landfall or works on something else. I'd love to know what your includes are in the deck, and definitely let me know. So I'm going to go through the land base now very quickly because nobody really cares about lands. So I'm just going to go through the land base. So let me just separate the non-basics from the basics. Okay, so the basics in the deck are 1, 2, 3, 4 swamps, 1, 2, 3, 4 forests, and 3 islands. So 11 in total. Not many. And then we have the non-basics, which is a load of cards here. So we've got a Mortuary Mire. So that enters the battlefield tapped. But when it enters the battlefield, you can put a creature card from your graveyard on top of your library. So again, a good way of recurring value of creatures that you want to see back in your hand and getting their end of battlefield effects. Relic Tower, great because it just taps to add one mana, colourless mana, and you have no maximum hand size, which is great when you've got Prime Speakers of Ganas coming out and stuff like that. Temple of Mystery, nice little green-blue land. When it enters the battlefield, scry 1. Again, enters the battlefield, you can get double, triple, well, just double probably, double scries off of that, which is great. Dismal Backwater, taps to add black or blue. When it enters, you gain 1 life, so you can potentially gain 2 life off of this. Tainted Wood can tap to add black or green mana if you control a swamp, but otherwise it taps to add 1 colourless. Yavimaya Hollow, a fantastic card. Adds 1 colourless mana to your mana pool, and you can pay a green and tap it to regenerate type creature, which is always good for protecting stuff you don't want to die. Opulent Palace, definitely include. Ends battlefield tapped, but it taps to add any of the Sultai colours. Paducah Bog, when it enters the battlefield, it ends battlefield tapped, but when it enters the battlefield, graveyard hate someone else. So if you've got Yarok out, then you're going to graveyard hate 2 people, which is always good. Exotic Orchard will basically tap for any mana that your opponents can produce, which is basically any mana in a 4-player game. Drowned Catacomb taps to add black or blue, but it enters tapped unless you control an island or a swamp. Yavimaya Coast taps to add 1 colourless to your mana pool, or it can tap to add green or blue and deal 1 damage to you. Flooded Grove, nice little filter land. So it taps to add 1 colourless, or you can play a green or a blue to add green, 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 blue, or blue, blue to your mana pool. So great for filtering your mana. You need some mana fixing. Submerged Boneyard, just a black-blue card that enters tapped. Blooming Marsh enters tapped unless you control 2 or more fewer lands. So again, which is a great card if you get it early. It taps to add black or green straight away, but it taps to add black or green later if you control 2 or more lands and it's tapped. Shimmering Grotto, just a nice little card for adding colours to mana pool and then filtering lands later if you don't have the right colour. Temple of Milady, this is a black and green land and it's tapped, but you can scry 2 if you have Yarok out, so again good for insight. Telemorphic Expanse, a great card for sacking off just to mana fix yourself. Twilight Mire, basically Flooded Grove but in black and green, so you can tap to add colours to your mana pool, or you can play a black and a green to add black black, black green or green green to your mana pool. Blighted Woodland, great card, taps to add 1 colours, then you can pay 3 and 1 green and tap and sacrifice it to search library for 2 basic lands, put 1 to battlefield tapped. Volrath's Stronghold, this is a fantastic card. This is basically a Mortuary Mire, but it can be recurred every single time. So it taps to add 1 colourless mana to your mana pool, but then you can play 1 black and 1 other, and then put a type creature card from your graveyard on top of your library. So a great card for recurring creatures that have died. Alchemist's Refuge, fantastic card. So it taps to add 1 colourless, or you can pay green and blue and tap to give everything Vedalken Orrery this turn, which is great. Evolving Wilds, another card that you can just sack off to go fetch that mana that you need. Command Tower, taps to add Sultai to your mana pool because you're using Sultai in your commander deck. Woodland Cemetery, taps to add black or green, but you can only activate that ability and it's tapped unless you control a forest or a swamp. Thornwood Falls, taps to add green or blue. When it enters the battlefield, you gain 1 life. And it's tapped though, but if you've got Yarok out, it'll give you 2 life. Myriad Landscape, it taps to enter the battlefield tapped. You can tap to add 1 colour to your mana pool, and you can pay 2 and tap it and sacrifice it. Search library for 2 basic lands, a share land type, put 1 to battlefield tapped. Great for getting the mana colours that you need, or just getting more lands into play for your landfall triggers. Llanowar Wastes, taps to add 1 colourless, or can tap to add 1 black or 1 green but deal 1 damage to yourself. 1 damage, what's that? Nothing. And of course a Breeding Pool, which is a forest island. As it enters the battlefield, you may pay 2 life if you do it. Enters the battlefield tapped, if you don't, sorry. So again, a great card for starting off because you're going to play it to tapped, or you're not going to use it, and then it will untap on the next turn, give you green and blue. So again, that is the mana base for Yarok. I mean, it's got a few expensive lands in there, but I think that does the job. Every time I played with this deck, I haven't had any mana issues. And again, those other cards that like fix my mana and the explosive vegetations and what have you are key to getting out the right colour mana for Yarok. But again, I think it's one of my favourite decks to use because it just has so much value, and that I just love Sultai. Sultai is just a colour pie that is one of the best that you can use in Commander because of its sheer value properties. But yeah, that's the Yarok The Desecrated deck. I hope you enjoyed it. If you like the content, then please like and subscribe, drop a comment, and we'd love to see your ideas on Yarok. And hopefully you'll see this in play extremely soon on the channel, as it is an awesome deck to watch because it just has so many interactions and so much value. But thank you very much for tuning in. I've been Aaron Francis. This is Pass the Turn on EDH content, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.